So you've heard me talk a little bit about withdrawal and how sometimes young people who feel quite anxious can find themselves avoiding. And we know that avoidance doesn't help. When a young person or an adult avoids something that they find anxiety provoking, yes, they get an immediate wave of relief. And that relief is really powerfully reinforcing. And quite reinforcing for parents too, because we feel and we see the relief in the young person and we see them calming down. And I get it. Who wants to make their child feel anxious? That kind of goes against everything that we're taught to do, right? But when we do allow our young person to avoid things, every time that avoidance happens, the brain logs that as a lesson. It tells them that thing was really dangerous and escaping was the only thing that saved me. So back to that anxiety equation where we're trying to build them up so that even if they think the thing is dangerous, they believe in their own skills. This is doing the opposite. And anxiety shrinks their world a little bit more each time. So we call this accommodating, when we adjust our own behaviour to help the child avoid distress. And that can look like different things. That could be avoiding, but it could also be maybe ordering for them in a restaurant or in a shop, or doing things for them that they could try themselves. We know that this is one of the most evidence-maintaining factors in childhood anxiety. And as I said, I understand it absolutely comes from a place of love. But there is an alternative. We can support our child to develop and to gradually expose themselves to the feared thing. So this is not about throwing them in at the deep end. It's that supported exposure in manageable steps so that their brain gets the new evidence. We're training them to be able to see, I did that scary thing and I coped with it. So the ladder of success is something that many parents think won't work. I've actually worked with a family very recently and mum was very skeptical about this, but was amazed at how this one thing changed something that they'd been struggling with for months. You can see here that it talks you through kind of putting the most feared stimulus at the top. So this is a thing they find really, really difficult that they're working towards, goes at the top of the ladder. And at the bottom is something that they feel they could do with a little bit of support from you. We want to set them up for success. So we're starting with something that we know they can do. And what we do then is kind of build in each of the rungs of the ladder to help them to see where this is going. So it's really, really important that you draw this out. Top tip, I would always get the young person to draw it out so that they feel that ownership. Back to what I was saying about the control as well. And as you're doing that, you're going to be curious. You're going to ask them, how would it feel to do X, Y, and Z? You're going to coach them through this using emotional coaching. I wonder if that feels really hard because you're feeling anxious. Or I wonder how you're feeling about the fact that you managed to do that thing really, really well. Where possible, you could use rewards or incentives to help them to move through the ladder. Now, these don't have to be financial rewards. It could be things like staying up a little bit later, picking what movie the family watches, anything at all. But helping them to visualize this and move through the ladder at their own pace, seeing it in front of them gradually with tiny steps is really powerful.